Good morning, good morning, good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this big, beautiful, and messy world. I hope you find it in a place of goodness. I am Carol C.C. Miller, your positive life strategist, peace activator, and global hugger, coming to you with another episode of Embrace Your Life Chat, where the intention is to heighten celebrations and lessen sorrows through a positive focus. As you can tell, I have a guest here, which I will get to in just a moment. It is for our monthly discussion on releasing stress. And I don't know about you, but it's really helpful to release stress. But before we get started, I do like to go over a couple of things. And one is I'm not an absolutist. I'm not a big fan of the words always, never, right, wrong, good or bad. There's 7 billion people on this planet, so I can't begin to say what is always right for 7 billion people. I work on a scale of 0 being always negative, always wrong, to 100 being always positive, always right, always kind. And I don't know anybody at the 0 and I don't know anybody at the 100. I do know people who are closer to both of those numbers, but I work in staying for myself personally in the 90% of being loving, kind, compassionate, peaceful, and positive, because those are my top values to work with. So if you're at the 51%, you are in the majority. If you're at the 45, the 30%, or whatever number, you're not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just where you are at right now and where you want to be. Secondly, I'm a coach. I love supporting people in living their best life. Paul is a coach as well. I am not a counselor, nor am I a therapist. And sometimes to live your best life, getting counseling or therapy is what's going to help you get there. So I believe you're worthy of living your best life. So I encourage you to look for the support teams that are going to help you get there the best, the quickest, the fastest. I don't know what you want to call it, but let me know in comments where you're joining us from. I'm in Chicago. Paul is in the suburbs of Chicago, the north side of suburbs here in Chicago. And we're going to get started here. And so we're going to be talking about the work of Byron Katie. And Paul and I have known each other for many years because of the work of Byron Katie. And he has been a facilitator, coach, trainer on this work and other things for many, many years. But Paul, can you give the audience just the basic background of who Byron Katie is and the work, and then
Sure.
whatever topic you want to go into. Hi, Marcia and Kathy.
Be happy to. Welcome, everyone. The work of Byron Katie is a method of identifying and then questioning thoughts that cause stress in our lives, which are, I was fascinated to listen to your discussion of numbers and realizing that, I can be at 80 and I'm a thought away from being at 20.
Right. I had
And
several 20 thoughts yesterday, I gotta
And
say.
like you can be just feeling fine. You're walking down the street, everything is good, the sun's shining, you're feeling great, and you have a thought, he doesn't care about me. And you can drop from, 95 down to 10 instantly. And
Right.
that's what the work is all about. Byron Katie was a businesswoman in California who went into a long period of depression. And she woke up one morning with an epiphany that all of her struggles, all of her depression, her anger, her fear was a result of believing what she was thinking. When she didn't believe what she was thinking, she was fine. And she came to see that this was true for every human being. And she developed this system. It's not a religion, it's not a spiritual perspective. It's really a practical tool for identifying what are we thinking, what are we believing in a given moment. And that's often hard to notice because the thought just comes into our head and we sort of automatically believe it, right? We have the thought, he doesn't care about me.
And we
And
might have many examples to
oh,
agree with that thought.
absolutely. Well, that's what the mind does. We have a thought like that, and then the mind immediately looks for examples from our memory banks, our experiences of this person. Oh, look at the way he looked at me then. He didn't call me back. He said something nasty about me to another person that I heard about. And we list all these examples. Those become our proof that we are right about the belief that he doesn't care about me. But if we honestly stop for a moment and just consider that thought, is it true? Is it really true that he doesn't care about me? We're believing it in the moment and we have all the proof, but is it true? That's question number one.
Right.
Yes or no? And question number two, can I absolutely know that it's true that he doesn't care about me? And if I really look deep within, it's hard. How can I really know whether he cares about me or not? Even if he says, Paul, I don't care about you. Can I really know that he doesn't? Because I've said that to people when I do care about them.
Right.
So, can I really know? And it gives me pause. And then, question three, this is really where life unfolds. How do I react? What happens to me when I believe he doesn't care about me? And I find those examples. I find my proof. I may have emotional reactions like resentment, anger, fear, attempt to please him, attempt to argue with him, perhaps withdrawing and not wanting any contact with him, or gossiping about him, blaming him to other people, talking about him behind his back. Those are ways that I might react when I believe he doesn't care about me. Question number four, who would I be without that thought? So if, again, we go to the situation where I'm walking down the street, the sun is shining, there's a breeze, I'm listening to the birds, I'm seeing people smiling, I'm on my way to the bakery for a cup of coffee, I'm actually doing fine.
Yeah.
Who would I be without the thought, he doesn't care about me? I'm that guy walking to the bakery. I'm
Having a
actually
good day.
happy. I'm enjoying the day. What happens when I believe that thought? I lose all of that. I actually lose my life walking down the street on the way to the bakery, anticipating my cup of coffee, anticipating my muffin or whatever it is. I lose all of that and I go into a world of him and how he feels and how mean he is and how I felt about it and what I should have said to him. And that's what's occupying my awareness as I walk down the street. Would I be without it? I'm back as the guy walking down the street. So we can notice those two different worlds that can exist. You know, when I'm not believing it, I'm at that 95. I'm the guy walking down the street, feeling good, being peaceful, sharing my joy with other people, engaged, present, available, thoughtful, peaceful. When I believe the thought, I'm down in a 10. I'm ignoring people. I'm bumping into people.
You get aggravated at them for
Aggravated. I'm getting mad at the stoplight that won't change and the person in the car. That's how I react in my life when I believe he doesn't care about me. And notice the amount that he cares about me hasn't changed. I don't know whether he might not care about me. And he might. I don't know. And it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right? Because in that moment, I'm either walking to the bakery or I'm in a world where I'm at war with him, peacefully on the way to the bakery or at war with him. Now, the thing I want to talk about today is the turnarounds. The turnarounds are a way of experiencing the opposite of the original thought. So in this case, the original thought was, he doesn't care about me. So one opposite is to put it on myself. I don't care about me. So in that moment, walking down the street to the bakery, what's an example of I don't care about me?
So, could one of them be the fact that you are spending all your energy thinking about him, so you're not taking care of yourself, kind of thing?
Yeah. I'm not enjoying my body walking down the street, taking care of it. I'm not taking care of my peace, right? Like my
Right.
here comes the thought about him, and I immediately go into identifying with that thought and going into the world of suffering, stress that that thought creates in me, and I forget about or abandon the me that was peacefully walking down the street on the way to get a call. I don't care about that person anymore. I'm more interested in changing him in that moment than I am in taking care of myself.
Okay.
So, another opposite, he doesn't care about me, is called the turnaround to the other. We kind of reverse directions of the original thought. He doesn't care about me. I don't care about him. So now I look at that situation. I'm walking down the street on the way to the bakery. Can't wait for the blueberry muffin and the cup of coffee. And how do I treat him when he enters my mind? Do I
Mm.
care about him? Not at all. He's my enemy. I start immediately judging him. He's wrong. He's bad. He's evil. He's against me. He's my enemy. Let me look at all these examples I have of, when he didn't call me back and when he looked at me weird and, all these examples. He talked about me to someone else. And I'm blaming him. I'm treating him, in my mind at least, poorly. I'm not actually with them, right? Except in my mind.
Right.
So, but I'm treating him poorly in my mind. I don't really care why, for example, he didn't call me back. I mean, maybe he's struggling with something. Maybe he's suffering with something and he needs help, and that's why he's not calling me back. I don't really care about why he's complaining about me or why he looked at me that way. Like, what was going on? I don't ask him. I don't care about him enough to find out what's going on with him. I just blame him because he
Right.
looked at me weird. So I don't really, in that moment, walking down the street, care about him at all. I only want peace, and I want it by changing him. If he would look at me with a smile,
You want peace on your
if he would
terms.
call me back, I change him. That's what I'm trying to do. Why do I want to change him? So I can be happy. Well, I was happy a moment ago. It had nothing to do with him. I was walking down the street on the way to the bakery, ready to have a cup of coffee. So I don't care about him. The third turnaround, this is the easiest one to find, the hardest one to find examples of. He doesn't care about me. He does care about me. Wow. Now, I really am challenged to find an example.
Because you're mad at him right now.
I'm mad at him. And sort of the way the mind works is it finds proof for what it believes. It doesn't want to see examples of what it doesn't believe. He cares about me. So I really am challenged to stop, recenter myself on my walk, anticipate my cup of coffee as I approach the bakery, and consider what is an example that he does care about me? Well, I noticed that I did get a text from him that said, "Sorry, I missed your call." So he cared enough about me to send me that text. And he cares about me because when he looked at me weird, he was sharing what was going on with him. He was struggling with something and he was looking at me with kind of a grimace on his face. And he cared enough about me to share that with me. Now, I didn't take it well. I didn't I didn't receive his gift very well, but he cared enough to share it with me. And when he talked about me to someone else, he cared enough about me to mention me to someone else, even though I interpret that as gossip, negative,
Right.
etc. But he cared enough about me that I'm in his awareness, that he's thinking about me, that he's caring about me. Now, some of those may be a stretch for some people. You have to find your own examples in your own situation, and it's hard. But these turnarounds are a way to live your life differently. So, one of the things in the work is we do these exercises. You can do them on your own, just writing it out. You can do it with someone else that's like me asking the questions and you answer the questions. You can find the turnarounds and find your own examples. But what I want to talk about today is living the turnaround. So, of these three turnarounds, the one that impacts me the most is that really lands for me is I don't care about me.
Mhm.
And that one really, I really feel. So, my way of living the turnaround is like I do the work on him so I can find where I'm stressed and maybe release some of that. But now going forward, how do I care about me on the rest of my walk to the bakery? How would I do that? What would that look like if I did care about myself? And that's a way of living that turnaround. Like I see where I didn't do that. How would I do that? Well, one way I would do that was go back into being present, right?
Right.
Noticing the sun and the breeze and the people around me, noticing my body, feeling the joy of the morning. And, oh, I'm on my way to get a cup of coffee. How wonderful that I have this time to do this and this opportunity to walk down this beautiful street and um, somebody will be there making coffee for me. And maybe I'll run into people that I know and really like going back into that experience. That would be one way. Another way would be to recognize that thought when it comes up. Oh, there's that thought again that he doesn't care about me. Huh. Do I want to go down the stressful hallway that the thought leads to? Or do I want to step back and take care of myself instead and just let that thought go? I don't have to believe it.
It's observing it rather than absorbing it.
Good way of describing it. Exactly. Observing the thought and realizing that there actually is a moment where I make a choice to either believe it or not. You don't notice that moment very frequently, right? Usually we have the thought, we believe it, and we experience the result of that belief, the stress, the anger, the resentment, the blame of the other person, whatever it is. The heart rate may go up. We lose our awareness of the walk we're on, whatever it is. We notice that. And our tendency is then to blame that on the person, right? Like, I know I'm stressed and I recognize I'm thinking about Joe. So now I blame my stress on Joe because it's the easiest thing to do. And we forget, oh, there was a thought, Joe doesn't care about me. And then there was a decision, yeah, he doesn't. I believe it. I believe that it's true. And then there's the stress. So taking care of me would be one way to do that, would be noticing that. Oh, there's that thought again. I've had that thought about Joe before. Dang it. There it is again. Am I going to believe it this time? Or would I rather enjoy my walk and my cup of coffee? and my blueberry muffin. So that would be a way of kind of taking my work that I did to
Yeah.
release my stress here and then bringing it into my life, bringing it forward into my life, and maybe living the rest of my day out of, I'm going to take care of me. Now, that might not be the turnaround that lands for you when you're doing your work. I kind of wait to see as I find different turnarounds. I don't always find three. Sometimes I find more, sometimes fewer. There's no absolute right answer there. But some of them really, I experience as landing. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
got it. There's a perceptible kind of
You feel
shift
it.
in energy that
Yeah.
I feel when I encounter that opposite. And when I find one of those, that's gold, that's magic. Now I can try, let's say the thought was that landed for me was, I don't care about him. And that might be the one that lands for you. Then I would be looking for, how can I care about him today? Maybe that's giving him a call. Maybe that's going for a visit or sending him a card um, or just being more peaceful in my mind about him.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all that's necessary, right? Depending on the circumstance. You may be having this thought, for example, about someone that's dead. It could be a parent who has passed, but you had the belief they didn't care about me when I was a child, and they're not available to call, but they are available in your mind to meet with, to be more peaceful with, to so depending on the turnaround, you might live that out in a different way.
Well, and I think it's such a good point, Paul, too, because ultimately, even though I would love to have control over other people, I don't. So even if it were true that the parent didn't care because of their own unhealthy backgrounds, I can't shift that. I can't change that. I can't make them care about me, but I can release that power over it. Not to say that it's an easy one. And that's something else I wanted to bring up. Paul has been doing this work for many, many years. I have as well. And you can go from 0 to 80 and do the really hard, stressful questions on it. I would encourage you to start with easier stresses. I know Prasad mentioned something about an illness, and you could absolutely do the work on the illness, whether it's a sniffle you have or whether you've just been given a diagnosis that could possibly be terminal. You can still do the work on it, but it's the practice of it, because there's some really powerful stressors in our life that just makes it more difficult to do the work if you're not used to it, if you don't understand the steps. And I've known Paul for over a decade. And there's sometimes when I'm doing the work with him, I'm like, I'm not ready to release this frustration with that person.
Yeah,
So,
and in the example I gave, this is a hypothetical situation that
right,
I'm kind of describing here, where Joe really does care about me, but I'm just not recognizing it. But there could also be a situation where there's a Joe in my life that really doesn't care. That's really
right,
a mean, awful, they're in a painful spot and they do not care about me.
right,
I've experienced people like that. But when I believe that they should, and they don't, I'm adding more stress
right,
to myself in that circumstance. So I may come to the realization they really don't care about me, and that's okay.
yeah,
Like I can still walk down the street and have that cup of coffee, and this is an example where it might be a skirmish with a friend or something like that, and it can go to murder and war and,
right,
very, very difficult subjects that you can encounter. It still works the same way. It's much harder to do the work on
right.
those things as you're
Well,
coming out.
yeah, and that's why I wanted to point it out, because sometimes, like especially here, we try to share the basics, because you never know where people are. Some people have been working with the work for a long time, are able to do those harder topics, but it really is about starting where you are. So you're not, because those topics, like you say, if it's a murder, or we've discussed before, physical abusers kind of thing, and doing the work with that. It's not at all saying, oh, by the way, stay with the physical abuser, but it is about working through it for yourself. And Paul, I definitely want you to share her website, and you can go to YouTube and just type in probably the work, or excuse me, Byron, Byron, Katie, Katie, and you will find dozens, if not hundreds, of videos of her doing really hard topics and some easier topics, kind of thing. But I'm seeing her, like, before I met you, I'd had somebody else facilitate it, and it just did not make sense to me. And as you know, I'm a big believer in law of attraction, so I don't want to focus on what's stressing me. And of course, you pointed out I'm still focusing on it, even if I don't want to. So the work is very complementary. But when I saw Byron Katie do it live, I'm like, sold. I totally got it. So getting a facilitator that shows it in the way that you need to see it is also helpful.
Yeah, there are a lot of resources available. If you go to thework.com, that's Katie's website, free materials on that website that will take you through all the steps of the work, the 4 questions, how to do the turnarounds. There's different worksheets that can help you identify thoughts, a judge your neighbor worksheet, a I complain about worksheet. These are all available for free downloads. There's also a helpline that's available. So if you start to do this on your own and you get stuck, or you have a question, you can call up. That's also free. There are people like myself that are available, not 24 hours a day, but every day. There's some hours where people are available. There's translations into like 35 or 40 different languages, so you can get it in your own native language as well. And there's a lot of resources. There's also these videos. And what you mentioned is also true. Go to YouTube, type in Byron Katie, because it can be very helpful. Like, for example, if you're struggling with stress with your partner, for example, and you're having thoughts about your partner and how he or she is treating you, you can go watch a YouTube video of somebody else working on their partner.
Yeah.
And it can be really helpful to see how their mind works, and just sort of do your own observations of your own mind as you watch them observe and work through theirs. And you've had that experience.
I was just going to say that when we used to meet in person, I often got my biggest turnarounds and ahas listening to other people do the work. It might not even be the same situation, but I could pick it up for, like, oh, that makes sense for me, kind of thing. So I do find those videos very helpful. And Kathy, I'm not sure if you're still here. I can't imagine that there isn't a topic that she hasn't covered, but I'm pretty sure she has things on grief. I have not specifically watched them, but so that might be something, Kathy, for you. Kathy is often on here and has recently lost her significant other. So
yeah, there are definitely, and there are places. The other resource I'd point you to is this book,
Loving What Is. Yeah,
Loving What Is. That's her first book, and it kind of is the Bible of the work, if you will. It'll explain, just like the website will, but if you prefer reading it, or you can get it on audiobook and listen to it, it'll explain the different steps and the turnarounds, how to do it. And there's a whole chapter on death and dying and grief that is really helpful if you're dealing with that. It's a powerful time, and a difficult time for many of us when we lose someone close to us. And it can be a time of really opening to the love that's there.
Yeah.
Love that's been there. And so I invite you to that as well.
Absolutely. And it really is such powerful work. And the word judgment, people, like, it's so not negatively judgmental, because she's just full of compassion. So you can do the work. And as I've told Paul on sometimes when I'm doing, I'm like, I am not ready to let go of being frustrated with this person. And he's like, okay, no problem, you know? So it really isn't right or wrong. It's where you're at and how do you want to feel. If you're ready to feel even slightly better, the work is going to get you there. It'll probably get you further than slightly, depending on the topic and depending on your experience with it. But it is a very powerful tool to use.
Well, one of the things that you notice when you start doing the work, and particularly if you're doing the work with people in a group, and you notice what their judgments are. Like I was sharing mine that he doesn't care about me. If we went through everybody that's on this call here today, my guess is everyone has had that thought about
Right.
someone at some point in their life that he or she doesn't care about me. It's not, it feels when I'm having that thought and when I believe it and I believe it about Joe, it feels very, very personal. That's a thought about him, and it's a thought about me, and it impacts my life, and it's my thought. But when I'm in a group and somebody else goes, oh, I have that thought too, and they share their reactions, and I start to see, oh, they react in some places the same as me. We both get angry, but I lash out at Joe and they withdraw, or there's
Right.
differences in the way we react. And that's interesting too. But Katie often says there are no new stressful thoughts, they're just recycled. We
Yeah.
just pull them. You know, we're not the first human beings to come up with these thoughts. They don't care about me. She didn't listen to me. There's one. Have we all had that?
A
Yeah, well,
time or two.
that he or she didn't listen to me.
Right.
We could have had about our partner, about our parent, about our child, about our friend, but we've had that thought. How we react, it's pretty human. And so you start to really have more compassion for yourself and for other people. Like, oh, they're just reacting the way I react. Like, Joe doesn't care about me, and I see, oh, I didn't care about him either. And I notice like how I really do care about Joe, but in the moment I don't.
Right.
And I notice that when I believe the thought, I don't care about him. When I am not caught in that and I'm just walking down the street on my way to a cup of coffee and somebody asks me, you care about Joe? Yeah, I love Joe. He's a good friend of mine, you know. But in the moment, I'm believing he grimaced at me. I don't care about him.
Right.
So it's sort of it helps me be a little bit more compassionate with myself and with other people because I realize we're just believing our thoughts. That's the worst we're doing. And then we're reacting out of that world that we create when we believe that thought.
Yeah.
And it's the source of our stress and why sometimes when we lash out at somebody and we say something in anger, if we really look, why were we doing that? You know, what were we believing in that moment that caused us to say something in anger that we were hurt, we were feeling victimized. That's why we do that. What we're really doing is asking for help, you know.
Yeah.
But we do it in a weird way. Right? We don't say, "Oh, I'm really hurting now. Would you help me?" We say, "You idiot." And we yell at them.
Yeah.
But it really is what we're doing if we stop
Pause.
and pause and care about ourselves enough to notice what's going on in us.
Well, and that's something that I've done for a long time, and certainly the work is part of it. But it's when I'm stressed or angered or anything, I ask myself, who do I want to be and how do I want to show up? And I don't want to show up as an angry person or a mean person or a stressed person. So then I do what I need to do to return to that person. It's taken a while because I used to beat myself up for being like, why are you angry right now and stuff. And that just kept feeding that cycle. So,
Yeah. And it's just, it's not that we're immoral or there's
right,
something wrong with us that we get angry. We're just believing some story about what's going on, what's happening to us, or what they're doing. And so we get angry because we are believing something that might not actually be true, right? We don't even know.
yeah,
And so, I invite people to the work as a way of just finding your true nature, finding that peace that it was existing within me already naturally as I walked down the street on my way for a cup of coffee. That's my natural self. That's the peace and love that we are and that we want to be full time until something gets in the way. And
right.
that something is a thought that we're believing that takes us out of the awareness of the peace that we are. So that's where the work can help.
And it's powerful. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You
Um,
are welcome. Have
I'm
a
have a
blissful day, everyone.
you too, and you can go ahead and leave if you like. I'm just going to close up
Okay.
shop here, but we will see you
Thanks.
next month for sure.
Okay.
And thanks, Paul.
Okay.
I'll talk to you soon. So yeah, so I encourage you to go to thework.com or look her up on YouTube. It's Byron, Byron Katie, Katie. It's a very powerful tool. I really do think it's best to start with some general stresses that we have and work through that. You can work on the big issues, but it just requires a little bit of background. You usually don't start as a beginner with some tool at the advanced level. So that's what I would encourage you to do. It's a tool that I use. It's again about, for me, going back to who do I want to be and how do I want to show up. Excuse me. So this is just one of those tools that helped me to do that. So I hope you found it helpful for you. He will again be back in a month. I love explaining this tool. It's a one, I don't really use it as much with my clients as much as I do use it personally, but it is a powerful one. I'm just checking here. Hello, Sam and Saling. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but hello to you as well. Good to have you here, Kathy. Hi, Ricky and Wilbur. Prasad, I would encourage you, if you're still here, to go to thework.com. I don't know where it is on that website, but there is a number you can call and have that work facilitated. So I would encourage you, if it's a medical issue, to probably get support on doing the work until you have learned it better for yourself. So that's what I would encourage you with that one. But that's what I have for you today. So whatever you can do to release some of that stress is to observe rather than absorb, and ask, is it true? You might find it, just like Paul said, our brain wants to support our belief system. So it's going to tell you all the different things that this he doesn't care about you has done to prove that fact. But most of the things we can't absolutely know it's true. That's why I'm not a big fan of the absolutes. But whatever it is that you can do for yourself to release the stress, to step back into a space of love, kindness, compassion, and peace for yourself, it's easier to do for others when you're in it for yourself as well. So think about those things that you can do. I will be back Thursday. I have my guest, Shauna Fisher, who is an animal communicator. So please join me for that one. And if you have a pet living or gone and have a question about them, she is here to answer those questions. And of course, I'll be back the next Tuesday and Thursday. Not sure of topics, but it will be something to heighten your celebrations and lessen your sorrows with a positive focus. So go out there and have a peaceful day as much as possible. Try to get it in that 51% at least. Don't beat yourself up if you're in the 40%, 30%, or whatever. It's just where you are and where do you want to be. So take care of yourselves. Go out there and have a wonderful day. And remember, you matter. You matter to me. You matter to the world. And most importantly, you matter to you. So long for now.